Beretta 21A Bobcat Covert. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Very little gun. Let's see how it goes. One in a chamber. I don't think that's ever going to get old. I just love everything about this. Oh my God, this is such a little gun. One in the chamber. How about that? Definitely hit some pop cans at 10 yards. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Today we're going to do part 2 for the Beretta Bobcat 21A Covert. So today what we're going to cover is the range review and the formal tabletop review, kind of diving in depth into some of these other parts of the gun. Before we jump into things, of course, I want to say thank you again to our Patron supporters. You guys are awesome, and if you'd like to be a Patron supporter, check out the link below, and you can support the channel starting at $1. Also, we do a quarterly giveaway, so this might be something that you would want to win. This is the P320 FCU from the Custom Workshop over at SIG. That's going to be our quarterly giveaway. And there is extra exclusive content for what we call Beyond the Blue Shirt, and that goes into things outside of the Concealed Carry channel. So check that out, see if it's something you want to join. Greatly appreciate the support. If you need to get a gun, something like this little Beretta or something else, visit nwarmory.com. You can have it shipped to your local FFL, or you can do a local in-store pickup. Tell them that Grant sent you in. They'll take very good care of you. And if you'd like to get some of the awesome reactive targets we use here on the channel, visit X Hunt Targets. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our range review with the gun. So we did our usual 3, 5, 7, and 10 yard shots. What we're doing here is 5 shots in 2 seconds. That's our goal in this. Now, the 3 yards, I love these little tiny dots because of the 22s. And that was actually a 1.9 inch group. I was really impressed with how this gun shot, being such a short sight radius and the sights being so small, but the gun stayed really flat. It's accurate right out of the box. It was very fun. The 5 yards was a 2.3 inch group. I actually have 2 bullets right there. 7 yards, 3.25 inch group there, and 10 yards was 3.9. So these 4 shots were about a 2 inch group, and then I had one fly down here, bringing it out to 3.9. Those targets, the X Hunt targets, were fantastic when reviewing this gun because the sights, they're all black, they're small, so shooting against this lighter background was definitely an advantage when sighting in the gun as I was practicing and stuff like that, and of course doing this drill. But these sights are itty bitty teeny tiny, but they're very, very well made. They're nice and sharp, so when you get them in line and you kind of get used to them, you can be fairly accurate with this. I mean, I don't think I'd have any problem taking some pop cans and putting them out there, 10 yards and popping them off with this little guy, and that'd be pretty darn impressive, I'll tell you that much. Let's go ahead and kind of talk about this gun from top to bottom. We'll start off with the sights. The sights are milled into the slide and the barrel. There is no changing those around. They are all black. If you're getting this particular color option, there's the FDE color option with a threaded barrel, and then they also have like a stainless steel version too. But these sights, if you're shooting against a black background, I was shooting against a black target at the range, and I was like, man, these sights so small, I had a really hard time finding them, which is of course not the case for everyone. That was what I found, and I think I'll probably take a little bit of white paint and put it over that front sight and call it a day, and just help me pick up that front sight a little bit better. But they're machined into the slide and the barrel very, very well. I have no complaints outside of that. If you're shooting against a all black target, you might lose those sights just a little bit. The front post here, I found being thin is awesome. It barely fits into the cutout for the rear notch, and there's a very, very small amount of room for air, and finding that made the gun very, very accurate for, you know, having such a short barrel. This is a 2.9-inch barrel, including the thread, you know, the threaded part out front here. So I really was impressed with how accurate I was with this gun right out of the box, and not really getting a whole lot of time behind the trigger. Let's talk about the barrel on this, and this does have the awesome tilt-up barrel there, which is sweet. So you can drop the mag and you can see right into the barrel and see if a round is in there or not, which is very, very cool. But this barrel, it's unique in that regard, but what makes this more unique on the Covert model is the threading up front here. And I'll do this again in case you missed or you skipped right to part 2 because you wanted to see kind of the tabletop and range review of this. But here we are. So this is my Silencer Co. switchback in its smallest configuration. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that. How freaking awesome is this? Like the Beretta, the James Bond Beretta. Very cool. Kind of classy looking with the wood. You got the brushed finish there. Black on black just looks really good. We'll go ahead and pop this off. Now with the threads up front there, this is a 1/2x28, so you could put all sorts of different suppressors on this thing, quite honestly. There is a small rubber O-ring on this. And I found that if you do not put this thread protector on the correct way, and there's no designation on to which way faces outward from the gun, but you can see there's kind of a crowning to the side that goes away from the gun, and then the part that goes against that O-ring actually has, you can kind of tell after you've looked at it, and it's like, oh, there is a tiny little bit of space. So that is one thing I'll tell you, take a look out for, because that little O-ring, if you turn it the wrong way, what'll happen is it'll get kind of smushed, and it can almost get small cuts in it. And of course, over time, those cuts, that little O-ring is probably going to snap. Let's go ahead and talk about the controls here. We'll start off with the trigger. So, you know, you can see it. I don't have really big hands, but look how big this trigger guard is. I mean, I could fit my thumb in there. So if you have big hands, big fat fingers, whatever, I don't think you're going to have any problem, you know, fitting your finger in this trigger guard here. The trigger is heavy. It's a double action, single action trigger. So you could absolutely, you know, cock it back. And when you are working this slide here, just like most double action, single action guns, or I should say anything with a hammer for the most part, these slides are going to be a little stiff when the hammer's up, but you can still obviously rack that back. The other option for you is to just go ahead and cock back the hammer. And now the slide is very easy to rack, as you can see there. Serrations on the back, simple. Going back over to this trigger, in the double action, it is a 10-pound trigger. Now it's a nice, smooth 10-pound trigger. I'm not loving it, but if you know that's what you need it to be, that's what you need it to be, is a heavy trigger. Totally cool. That could be some selling point for some folks. I know on other reviews I've talked about with like revolvers, heavy triggers, like the Bodyguard. A lot of people, I'm like, I do not love this trigger, but that was some people voiced to me, hey, that's one of the reasons why I decided to get it, even though it does have a safety. Hey, you know what? If that's what you want, cool, you're gonna like this gun. It has it there for you. So you got a 10-pound pull for the double action, and then once it's in single action, okay, you'll see here, this is a really light trigger, and it has a tiny little bit take up. So we'll go ahead and take a look here at that take up. As you can see, the magazine is out, of course. Everything's cleared out of there, okay? We check all this stuff before we do any recordings. So let's pretend your finger is on that trigger with mine. You got a little bit of take up there. And it has a very defined wall. Super clean brake. Here we go. Now that single action, it's not super duper light. It's not like some 2.5, 3.5 pound trigger. It's probably around 4.5 pounds. We'll do it again. And the reset, so you can see that here. It's a pretty short reset. Very positive, as you can hear. And again, got a small amount of take up there. Right at that nice crisp wall. Snap. Really like that. Nice positive reset again. Trigger, heavy, 10 pounder. No complaints there. Nice smooth, really smooth trigger though, I'd tell you that. Let's talk about some of the other controls. You have a safety. It's just like this little itty bitty tiny safety here. It's very easy to manipulate. This little lever up front here, this is for your barrel to tilt. So what you do is you just push that forward and up it goes. Super cool. To disassemble the gun, you actually just tilt the barrel all the way forward. How awesome is that? But that pretty much sums it up for the controls up top. Now your magazine release is not in your normal spot. You can actually see it's down here. Some people think that's actually one of the screws. No, it's just, and the grip is nice because there's a little indent where that magazine is. You're probably not doing any fast tactical reloads as far as that goes, you know. But hey, with a lot of practice, you could get very tactical with this. The magazine release is not ambidextrous. You can see the safety is not ambidextrous. I feel like for a lot of folks, this gun is going to be kind of like a range, kind of a fun range gun. Could even be considered a novelty or collector's item. Let's talk about these grips. These grips are absolutely beautiful. The fit, the finish, the coloring, the little kind of that cross-hatch checkering is beautiful. The Beretta logo on the side of them is done so well. I really do like it. It has some great contours to the grip. It is very ergonomic. When you hold on to this gun outside of the length of the handle, I don't feel that I'm really holding on to it as small of a gun as this is. So even if you had larger size hands, my hands are about a medium. If you had small hands, it's gonna fit great. But I feel like if you have, you know, larger hands, yeah, it's gonna be a small gun and it's gonna put, you know, a smile and a giggle on your face and stuff like that. But you know, I don't think that it's going to feel so super tiny. It's going to get out of hand even if you have like a finger hanging off the bottom of it. Very, very cool grips. Great feeling gun. Let's talk about the magazine there. Like I said, it's a single stack. 7 rounds. You could shove 8 in there, but you're going to run into some problems. That magazine fits nice and flush down in there. Looks really good. You can see that that grip is nicely rounded to complement there. The front of that grip looks really great. This is a fantastic gun. I think a lot of people are going to want to add to their collection. I was very fortunate to be able to get my hands on one, being that these are pretty much sold out everywhere. And I really like it. I'm very glad that I get to put this up on the gun wall somewhere. Not sure where yet, but I think that if you have an opportunity to get one, I think you should pull the trigger. So anyways, thanks again so much for joining me today for the range review and kind of a more in-depth tabletop review of the 21A Bobcat Covert. And I would love for you to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this little gun. Is it something that you have considered, whatever it might be? Something that might help somebody who's looking at buying this gun for their consideration. Also, make sure to check out northwestarmory.com if you need to get a gun. You can have it shipped to your local FFL or do an in-store pickup. And go to X Hunt Targets. Order some of those awesome reactive targets. If you haven't already, try them out. They are really, awesome. Plus, they're weather resistant. So as we go towards the winter and you're out there in the rain or the snow, I have shot these in the snow. I have shot them in the rain, and they hold up incredibly well. And of course, thanks again to you Patreon supporters for everything that you do for the channel. I greatly appreciate it, and I'd love for you to check out our Patreon page where you can become a Patreon for $1, and then we also offer a bunch of extra exclusive fun things, and you can get entries in for a quarterly giveaway, which this quarter again is going to be that SIG P320 FCU, which is very hard to get, and it is so cool the things that you can do with that. But anyways, we'll see you here next time on the Concealed Carry channel, and you guys take care. We are always shooting at the range in a controlled environment under professional supervision. There we are. Let's redo that part real quick. Has a little tilt-up barrel, kind of like a barrel brake. What am I talking? I just call it a tilt-up barrel. What am I talking about? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Take 15. It's like a breaker barrel brake. Breaker niner. Oh, the rest of the stuff. Let's talk about the rest of the stuff, man. Gosh, what am I doing? I'm so excited about this. So excited.